Hey beautiful Capricorn souls, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into something that honestly broke my heart a little bit when I pulled these cards for you. This reading is about someone who came into your family dynamic and completely turned people against you. We are talking about manipulation, lies, hypocrisy at its finest. But here is the thing that really got my attention as I shuffled. The energy of justice is so strong in this spread. This person who played games with your family relationships, who twisted stories, who made themselves look like the hero while painting you as the villain, they are now facing exactly what they put out into the world. Before we get into the cards, I just want to say that I know how painful family betrayal is. When someone manipulates the people who are supposed to have your back unconditionally, it cuts differently than other types of hurt. It is one thing to have conflict directly with a family member, but when someone else comes in like a puppeteer pulling strings, creating drama, feeding lies, that is a whole different level of pain. So if you have been carrying this weight, feeling misunderstood by your own family, questioning if you were the problem, I want you to know the cards have a lot to say about what really happened behind the scenes. This reading is going to validate so much of what you have been sensing but maybe could not quite prove or articulate. Let me start by pulling the first card and oh wow, we have the hangman right out the gate. Okay Capricorn, this card is showing me that for a significant period of time, you felt completely stuck in this situation. The hangman is about suspension, seeing things from a different angle, being in a position where you cannot move forward the way you want to. This was you watching helplessly as this person wove their web of lies throughout your family. You could see what was happening, you understood their manipulative tactics, but you felt powerless to stop it because every time you tried to speak up, you were painted as jealous or difficult or the problem. The hangman also represents sacrifice, which resonates so deeply with your experience. You sacrificed your peace trying to maintain family harmony. You bit your tongue countless times when you wanted to call out the BS. You showed up to family gatherings even when you knew this person had been talking behind your back. You tried to be the bigger person over and over again, thinking maybe if you just stayed calm and rational, people would eventually see the truth. But the thing about the hanged man is that sometimes the sacrifice period is necessary for gaining a completely new perspective on a situation. What I am seeing with this card is that while you were in this suspended state, unable to defend yourself effectively because the deck was stacked against you, you were actually developing an incredibly clear understanding of human nature, manipulation tactics, and who your real supporters are. The hanged man forced you to observe rather than react, to see patterns you might have missed if you were able to immediately fight back. You noticed how this person changed their story depending on who they were talking to. You saw how they played the victim while simultaneously orchestrating drama. You watched them create problems then swoop in to solve them, looking like the hero. This period of suspension also gave you spiritual perspective that you would not have gained otherwise. You started questioning why family members were so easily swayed, what insecurities or needs this person was fulfilling for them that made them blind to the manipulation. You began understanding that some people prefer comfortable lies to uncomfortable truths, that some family members would rather believe this person's version of events because it allowed them to avoid confronting harder realities about family dysfunction or their own judgments. The hangman is telling me you reached a point where you realized you could not control how others perceived you or this situation. You could not force people to see what they were determined not to see. This realization, while painful, was actually liberating in a weird way. It shifted something fundamental in how you approached the whole mess. You stopped trying to prove yourself to people who had already decided to believe lies. You stopped defending your character to those who benefited from misunderstanding you. That shift in perspective, that acceptance of the upside-down reality you were dealing with, that was your hangman moment. Uncomfortable as hell, but ultimately transformative. Now let me pull the second card and we have got Seven of Wands here. Capricorn, this is the energy of you trying to defend yourself against multiple attacks. Seven of Wands shows a figure standing on higher ground, holding off 6 other wands that are coming at them from below. This is you dealing with the onslaught of twisted narratives, false accusations, manipulated family members all coming at you because of what this person has been feeding them. You are literally fighting to maintain your position, your truth, your integrity in the face of coordinated opposition that you never signed up for. What really strikes me about Seven of Wands in this context is the isolation of it. You are fighting alone, defending yourself without backup, because this person successfully isolated you from potential allies within the family. They made sure that anyone who might have supported you either doubted you or stayed silent to avoid becoming the next target. Seven of Wands is exhausting energy. It is standing your ground when you are outnumbered. It is defending your truth when people have already made up their minds to believe lies. It is the constant vigilance of knowing that anything you say can be twisted. Any boundary you set can be painted as you being difficult. Any defense you offer can be used as evidence that you are the problem. I am seeing with this card that you had to defend yourself on multiple fronts simultaneously. Maybe this person twisted something you said at a family dinner, so you had to defend your words. Maybe they made up a story about something you allegedly did, so you had to defend your actions. Maybe they played the victim about how you supposedly treated them, so you had to defend your character. Each wand coming at the figure in this card represents a different false narrative or accusation you had to address. And the sheer volume of it was overwhelming. But here is what I love about Seven of Wands in your reading, Capricorn. Despite being outnumbered, despite fighting alone, despite the exhaustion, you held your ground. You did not back down from your truth even when it would have been easier to just apologize for things you did not do or accept blame to keep the peace. The figure in Seven of Wands has the high ground, which tells me that on some level, you knew you were standing on solid truth even when others could not or would not see it. Your integrity remained intact even as your reputation within the family was being attacked. Seven of Wands also shows me the specific tactics this person used against you. They did not come at you directly in an honest confrontation. Instead, they sent others. They created situations where family members questioned you. They planted seeds of doubt, then let those seeds grow into full accusations through other people's mouths. This is classic manipulation, using proxies to do the dirty work while keeping their own hands clean. They position themselves as neutral, or even as someone trying to keep peace, all while orchestrating the very conflict they pretended to mediate. The exhaustion of Seven of Wands is real, Capricorn. There is only so long someone can fight off multiple attackers before they need to reassess the battle. This card shows me you reached a breaking point where you realized that defending yourself to people who were determined to misunderstand you was draining your life force. You were spending so much energy trying to prove what should have been obvious, trying to defend against accusations that should have been questioned, trying to maintain relationships with people who had chosen to believe the worst about you. That realization leads us directly into our next card. Let me pull the third card now, and we have the Hermit. Okay, this is making so much sense in the progression of your story. After the suspension of the Hangman and the exhausting defense of Seven of Wands, you withdrew. The Hermit is about stepping back from the noise, seeking truth in solitude, finding your own light when external sources have failed you. This is you making the conscious decision to distance yourself from the family chaos, to stop engaging with the drama, to focus on your own healing and clarity rather than trying to fix what others refuse to see. The Hermit carries a lantern, symbolizing the search for truth and wisdom. This was you doing your own soul searching, asking yourself hard questions about family patterns, about why certain relatives were so susceptible to manipulation, about your own role in the dynamics even if that role was simply being too authentic for a family system that preferred pretense. You needed time alone to process the betrayal, to grieve the family relationships that were poisoned, to figure out who you were outside of trying to prove yourself to people who had already written their narrative about you. What I am seeing with the Hermit is that this withdrawal was not giving up. It was actually the smartest strategic move you could have made. By stepping back, you stopped feeding the drama. You removed yourself as a target. You gave yourself space to heal without constantly having salt rubbed in the wounds at every family gathering. The Hermit is wise energy, and your withdrawal demonstrated wisdom that reactive fighting could not have achieved. During your Hermit phase, something really important happened. You started seeing the situation with crystal clarity because you were not in the middle of the storm anymore. You could look at the whole family dynamic from a distance and recognize patterns that you were too close to see before. You noticed how this person love-bombed certain family members who gave them what they wanted. You saw how they triangulated communication, telling different stories to different people to keep everyone confused and divided. You recognized how they played on your family's specific weaknesses, insecurities, or past wounds to gain sympathy and position. The hermit also represents inner knowing. That gut instinct you have always had about this person even before you could articulate exactly what they were doing. In solitude, away from the gaslighting and the pressure to just get along, you trusted your intuition fully. You stopped second-guessing yourself about whether you were being too sensitive or too judgmental. You honored the truth that your inner knowing had been screaming at you all along. This person is not what they present themselves to be. Their motives are selfish. Their actions do not match their words. Your discomfort around them was not your problem. It was your intuition protecting you from their toxicity. Now for the fourth card. And we have 8 of Cups here. Capricorn, this is the card of walking away from what no longer serves you, even when it is painful to leave. 8 of Cups shows a figure leaving behind 8 cups, walking toward mountains in the distance. This is you making the difficult decision to emotionally divest from family relationships that had become toxic. To stop waiting for apologies or recognition that might never come. To choose your own peace over the illusion of family harmony that required your silence and your suffering. 8 of Cups is one of the hardest cards to live through because it represents leaving behind what you invested in, what you hoped for, what you wanted to work. You did not want to walk away from family. You did not want to accept that some relationships might never recover. You did not want to grieve the loss of family members who were still alive but who had chosen to believe lies about you. But 8 of Cups shows up when staying becomes more painful than leaving. When the cost of maintaining connections becomes too high for your mental health, emotional well-being, and spiritual peace. What I am seeing with this card is that you reached a point where you recognized those 8 cups. Those family relationships that had been poisoned were never going to be what you needed them to be as long as this person had influence. You could not pour more of yourself into trying to fix what others were actively destroying. You could not keep showing up to be misunderstood, misrepresented, and mistreated. The 8 of Cups journey is about valuing yourself enough to walk toward your own emotional and spiritual fulfillment, even when it means leaving others behind. This walking away was not done in anger or revenge, which is what makes 8 of Cups so powerful and mature. You did not blow up the family with dramatic confrontations or ultimatums. You did not stoop to the level of fighting manipulation with manipulation. You simply and quietly withdrew your energy, your presence, your emotional investment. You stopped attending every gathering. You reduced contact. You protected your peace by creating distance. This probably confused some family members who expected you to keep fighting, or to eventually cave and apologize for things you did not do. Your quiet departure was actually more powerful than any confrontation could have been. 8 of Cups also speaks to the grief of this decision. You grieved the family you thought you had, the family you deserved to have, the family relationships that could have been beautiful if not for this person's interference. You mourned the loss of trust, the innocence before you understood how easily people could be manipulated, the comfort of thinking your family would always have your back. This grief is real and valid, Capricorn. Walking away from family, even when necessary for your well-being, carries a particular kind of heartbreak that not everyone understands. But here is the beautiful part about 8 of Cups. It is not just about what you are leaving. It is about what you are walking toward. Those mountains in the distance represent higher ground, better emotional health, authentic relationships with people who actually see you clearly, a life not constantly disrupted by someone else's manipulation games. By having the courage to walk away from dysfunction, you opened yourself to healthier connections, stronger boundaries, and a level of self-respect that staying and tolerating mistreatment would have eroded completely. Let me pull the 5th card now. And we have 6 of Swords appearing. Oh Capricorn, this is such a hopeful card in your reading because 6 of Swords is about transition, moving from rough waters to calmer ones. being guided toward a better situation. After the withdrawal of the Hermit and the walking away of Eight of Cups, Six of Swords shows the actual movement toward peace and recovery. You are not just leaving toxicity, you are actively traveling toward healing, clarity, and emotional stability. Six of Swords traditionally shows figures in a boat moving across water, leaving behind turbulent seas for smoother sailing ahead. This is your current energy or your very near future, Capricorn. You are in transit from the chaos of family manipulation to a calmer state of being where your nervous system is not constantly activated by drama, where you are not bracing for the next twisted narrative, where you can simply exist without defending your character or proving your worth. This transition takes time, and Six of Swords acknowledges that you are in process, not yet fully healed but definitely moving in the right direction. What really stands out to me about Six of Swords in this reading is the guidance aspect. In traditional imagery, there is often a figure steering the boat, suggesting you are being guided through this transition by your own wisdom, your intuition, maybe by a therapist or trusted friend who helps you navigate the emotional complexity of family estrangement. You are not drifting aimlessly. You are making conscious choices about your healing journey. You are seeking resources, doing the inner work, processing the trauma rather than burying it. Six of Swords also tells me that you are carrying lessons with you from this experience. Those six swords in the boat represent what you have learned about human nature, boundaries, manipulation, family dysfunction, and your own resilience. You are not leaving this situation empty-handed in terms of wisdom. You have gained profound understanding about how people can be swayed by charisma over character, how family ties do not guarantee loyalty, how protecting your peace sometimes means disappointing people who expect you to tolerate mistreatment. These lessons, while painful to learn, are valuable tools you are bringing into your future. The movement toward calmer waters in Six of Swords suggests that as you continue distancing yourself from the family drama, you will find increasing peace. The constant anxiety about what this person is saying about you will diminish. The hurt of family members believing lies will become less sharp. The anger about the injustice of it all will transform into acceptance that you cannot control others' perceptions or choices. You will reach a place where their opinion of you simply does not hold the power it once did, where you have built a life and identity completely separate from their narratives about you. I am also seeing that Six of Swords indicates potential reconciliation with some family members in the future. But only after you have reached the calmer waters. Only after you have healed enough to engage without being re-traumatized. Only with people who do the work of seeing the truth. This card does not promise that everyone will wake up to the manipulation, but it does suggest that some may eventually question the narratives they were fed. Some may notice inconsistencies in this person's stories. Some may reach out wanting to rebuild on honest foundation. Six of Swords says you are moving toward better. Whether that includes repaired family relationships or building chosen family who sees you clearly from the start. Now let me pull the final card. And we have Seven of Cups appearing. Capricorn, this card is fascinating in this position because Seven of Cups is about illusions, confusion, unrealistic fantasies, and options that are not what they seem. In the context of this reading, Seven of Cups represents what is happening to the person who manipulated your family against you. All those illusions they created, all the false images they projected, all the fantasies they sold to your family members about who they were and who you were, it is all crumbling now. The karma is real. Seven of Cups shows multiple cups floating in clouds, each containing different images representing various illusions or choices. This is exactly how this person operated within your family. They presented different versions of themselves to different people. Whatever image would get them what they wanted in that moment. They offered illusions of being helpful, caring, victimized, innocent, while the reality was self-serving manipulation. They kept your family confused with contradictory stories, with emotional appeals that did not match their actions, with performances that looked genuine but were calculated. What I am seeing now with Seven of Cups is that this person's illusions are no longer sustainable. The energy required to maintain multiple false narratives, to keep track of which lies they told to whom, to continue playing victim while their actions reveal selfishness. It is catching up with them. Seven of Cups in this position tells me that people are starting to notice inconsistencies. The clouds that obscured truth are clearing. Family members are beginning to question things that did not quite add up. This person's mask is slipping because masks always slip eventually when you are dealing with someone this hypocritical. Here is what happens with manipulators like this person, Capricorn. They eventually overplay their hand. They get too comfortable, too confident that they have everyone fooled, and they stop being as careful with their lies. They might contradict themselves in ways that even their biggest defenders notice. They might reveal their true selfish nature in a moment when they think no one important is watching. They might manipulate someone new in a way that is so obvious it makes previous targets rethink whether they were manipulated too. Seven of Cups says the illusions are failing, the fantasies are revealed as hollow. The true nature cannot stay hidden forever. I am also seeing that Seven of Cups represents this person's current state of confusion and instability. Their carefully constructed position within your family is not as secure as it once was. Maybe people are not responding to their victim narratives the way they used to. Maybe family members are pulling back, setting boundaries, questioning motives. Maybe the sympathy well has run dry because they have cried wolf too many times. Seven of Cups shows someone surrounded by illusions of their own making, unable to distinguish their own lies from reality anymore, confused about why their tactics are not working like they used to. The karma aspect of Seven of Cups in this reading is that this person is experiencing the natural consequences of their deceptive beha. Fire. They created a house of cards with their lies, and houses of cards always collapse. They poisoned wells they are now drinking from because the family dysfunction they created is affecting them too. They isolated you. But isolation is spreading as people trust each other less after witnessing manipulation. They turn people against you. But now they are dealing with the suspicious, distrustful family culture they cultivated. What goes around comes around, and Seven of Cups shows them drowning in the illusions they created. I want to be clear that this does not necessarily mean your family members are suddenly going to apologize to you, or that this person is getting publicly exposed. Although those things might happen, the karma shown in Seven of Cups is often more subtle and internal. This person has to live with who they truly are beneath the masks. They have to maintain exhausting performances. They lack authentic connection because all their relationships are based on manipulation. They are trapped in the web they wove, unable to experience genuine love or trust because their foundation with everyone is built on lies. That is the real curse of Seven of Cups for manipulators. A life of hollow illusions instead of real substance. You endured suspension and sacrifice. You fought alone against coordinated attacks on your character. You withdrew to find truth and wisdom. You made the brave choice to walk away from toxicity. You are currently transitioning toward peace and recovery. And meanwhile, the person who caused all this pain is watching their illusions crumble as karma delivers exactly what they earned. What you went through was not fair. You should not have had to defend yourself against lies within your own family. You should not have been put in a position where protecting your peace meant distancing from people you loved. But I want you to understand something really important. Your willingness to stand in your truth even when it cost you. Your refusal to compromise your integrity even when it would have been easier. Your courage to walk away rather than tolerate ongoing mistreatment. These choices reflect who you really are. Someone of substance. Someone with backbone. Someone who values authentic connection over comfortable pretense. This person saw you as a threat because you represented everything they are not. You are genuine where they are performative. You have integrity where they have masks. You seek truth where they deal in illusions. They could not destroy who you actually are. They could only distort how some people perceived you. And even that is temporary. Truth has a way of surfacing eventually. Your character will speak for itself to anyone willing to see clearly. The people who truly matter will recognize your worth regardless of manipulated narratives. As you continue your Six of Swords journey toward calmer waters. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be. The distance you have created is allowing you to heal, to build a life not defined by family dysfunction, to develop relationships with people who appreciate your authenticity rather than punishing you. For it, you might have lost some family connections, but you gained something arguably more valuable, which is unshakable knowledge of your own worth independent of others' opinions or treatment of you. And for this person who turned your family against you, who acted with such hypocrisy and selfishness, their Seven of Cups karma is just beginning. They will reap what they have sown in ways both visible and invisible to you. The universe has a way of balancing scales. Your job is not to wait around for their downfall or to seek revenge. Your job is to keep moving forward, keep healing, keep building a beautiful life that proves you were never the problem they painted you to be. Your success, your peace, your authentic happiness, that is the best response to their lies.